Do you like mysteries? To wander through the enigmatic mist of the inexplicable? Great. I'm Merc, and here you'll find what you're looking for. Welcome to my domains. The truth dissolves into the mist.
You are standing on the outskirts of Guadalajara, Mexico. The air smells of dry earth and something else, something deeper, something you cannot name. In the distance, the colossal structure of the Akron Stadium rises against the sky, a monument to sport, to glory, to a global celebration that will soon consume the world's attention. But beneath your feet, the soil tells a different story, a story of silence, of absence, of bones. Between 2022 and 2025, while architects and engineers put the final touches on a stadium built to host the world's most watched tournament, a group of civilians, mostly mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, were digging just a few hundred meters away. They were not looking for treasure. They were looking for their children. What they found would freeze the blood of anyone who still believes in justice. 456 bags, each one containing human remains. Not bodies, not entire skeletons, but fragments, pieces, the last physical remnants of people who once laughed, dreamed, and walked the same streets you might walk today. The discovery was not made by forensic experts or government agents. It was made by volunteers, by the desperate, by those who refused to accept the official answer of nothing to see here. Think about that for a moment. An official FIFA World Cup venue, a stage for millionaire athletes and cheering crowds, sits only minutes away from a clandestine grave. And the Mexican government, the same one that welcomed the world with open arms, knew about this. They knew while the grass was being watered, while the VIP seats were being polished, while the promotional videos were being filmed. They knew, and they said nothing. See, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is documented fact. The search collective known as Guerreros Buscadores de Jalisco, made up entirely of relatives of the disappeared, flagged the area in late 2022. They used nothing but shovels, hope, and rage. And one by one, the bags emerged from the earth. Some were marked with numbers, others with nothing at all. Each bag a tomb, each bone a sentence in a story that will never be told. The Mexican authorities, when pressed, offered the usual words: condolences, investigations, promises. But no arrests were made in connection to the Akron zone graves. No high-profile cartel leaders were captured as a direct result of the find. The only people who returned to the site day after day, son after son, were the families. They came with photographs of their missing loved ones, hoping that a dental record, a piece of clothing, a fragment of bone might match. For most, the answer was no. You might be asking yourself, how is this possible next to a World Cup stadium? How can such horror exist in the shadow of such spectacle? The answer lies in the nature of the enemy. The Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, or CJNG, is not a simple gang. It is a paramilitary organization with intelligence networks, drones, and a level of territorial control that rivals the state itself. In Jalisco, the cartel does not hide. It occupies, it decides who lives, who dies, and who disappears without a trace. The area around the Akron Stadium, particularly the neighboring municipality of Zapopan, has been a CJNG stronghold for years. The cartel uses these peri-urban zones as training grounds, execution sites, and mass graves. The 456 bags found near the stadium represent only a fraction of the total disappeared in the state. According to official data from the Mexican government, over 110,000 people are currently listed as missing nationwide. Jalisco alone accounts for nearly 15,000 of those cases. But the truth is even darker. Activists on the ground estimate the real number to be much higher. Because many families do not report disappearances, they are too afraid. The cartel has a simple message: report us, and you join the bags. So the mothers dig alone. They dig in secret. They dig at night. And when they find something, they do not call the police. They call other mothers. And together they unearth what the state refuses to see. Kungu now. Here is where the story takes a turn that borders on the absurd. The same FIFA that demands state-of-the-art stadiums, impeccable transportation, and total security for its guests, remained silent. No official FIFA delegation visited the graves. No statement was issued condemning the discoveries. No pressure was applied to the Mexican government to identify the remains before the first kickoff in 2026. Why would they? A World Cup is a product, and products do not sell well when packaged with mass graves. Activists on the ground have coined a term that captures this grotesque contradiction. They call it the Ghost Games, a World Cup that takes place in a cemetery disguised as a country. A tournament where every goal celebration is echoed by the silence of 100,000 families who will never see their loved ones again. The term is designed to haunt, and it should. Imagine the broadcast in 2026. The cameras pan across the cheering crowd. The sound of vuvuzelas, the roar of the goal, the slow-motion replay of a striker's celebration. Now imagine the same camera turning 180 degrees, showing the excavation site, showing the bags, showing the mothers who have been digging for 4 years. That image will never air, but it is the real Mexico. Not the postcard, not the tequila commercial, not the colorful filter of tourism. The Mexico of bones. The Mexican government has tried to downplay the discoveries. Officials have repeatedly stated that the graves near the Akron Stadium are historic, meaning they predate the current violence. But forensic examinations tell a different story. Textile fragments found inside the bags include clothing styles and synthetic fibers that date no earlier than 2018. Some remains show signs of decomposition consistent with a death window between 2020 and 2024. These are not old graves. These are fresh wounds. And the cartel knows this. In fact, the CJNG has been known to return to the same grave sites to deposit new bodies. Why dig a new hole when an old one still has space? This macabre efficiency is not a sign of laziness. It is a message. A message that the cartel controls the land, the law, and the legacy. Not even a World Cup will change that. You might wonder if any action has been taken against FIFA or the Mexican government. In 2024, a coalition of human rights organizations filed a formal complaint with the International Olympic Committee and FIFA's Ethics Committee. The complaint cited the host city agreement, which requires Mexico to guarantee safe and humane conditions for all participants and visitors. The complaint argued that mass graves within walking distance of an official venue violate that agreement. The response: a standard letter acknowledging receipt. No investigation, no sanctions, no nothing. So the digging continues. As of early 2026, the Guerreros Buscadores de Jalisco have expanded their search to 3 other zones near the Akron Stadium. Each new excavation brings more bags, more fragments, more questions, and the government's response remains the same. A press conference, a promise of forensic testing, and then silence. The testing backlog in Jalisco currently exceeds 40,000 samples. At the current rate, it would take 23 years to process everything already found. 23 years, while families wait, while the cartel kills. Let us pause for a second and look at the calendar. The World Cup is scheduled for June and July of 2026. The opening match in Guadalajara will take place on a Friday night. Millions will watch. Advertisers have already paid billions. The Mexican government has invested over $2 billion in infrastructure, security, and stadium upgrades. But not a single peso has been allocated to accelerate the identification of the remains found near the Akron Stadium. Not one. This is the heart of what the activists call the ghost games. It is not just that the bodies are there. It is that the world's most powerful sports organization and the sovereign government have collectively decided that the bodies do not matter. They are an inconvenience, a public relations problem, a footnote in a spreadsheet labeled risk factors. The mothers disagree. They have renamed the stadium zone. They call it Campo de Fossos, the field of graves, and they have promised to be there on opening day. Their plan is simple but devastating. On the day of the first match, they will gather at the edge of the excavation site. They will hold photographs of their missing children. They will display white crosses, each one bearing a name and a date of disappearance, and they will remain silent. No shouting, no violence, no disruption, just silence. A silence so loud that it might, just might, break through the wall of indifference that surrounds them. Cash. The Mexican government has already tried to stop this protest. In late 2025, a judge granted an injunction forbidding any unauthorized gathering within 500 meters of the Akron Stadium during the World Cup. The mothers appealed. The appeal was denied. But they will come anyway. Because what is a court order compared to a child's bone? What is a police line compared to 20 years of not knowing? These are questions that no judge can answer, and no cartel can silence. Now let us talk about the cartel's strategy, because it is more sophisticated than you might think. The CJNG does not want to disrupt the World Cup. In fact, they have a vested interest in its success. A successful World Cup means more tourists, more business, more money moving through the region. And the cartel controls much of the informal economy in Jalisco. Construction, transportation, hospitality, all of it is taxed by the CJNG, so they will not attack the stadium. They will not kidnap visitors. They will not engage in open conflict during the games. They will simply continue to kill, quietly, efficiently, and the bodies will continue to be buried, perhaps in the same fields, perhaps in new ones. The World Cup will change nothing for the disappeared. This is the most terrifying aspect of the ghost games. The violence does not stop. It merely adjusts. It becomes invisible. It happens behind the walls of the stadium, in the neighborhoods where the cameras do not go, in the hours between the matches when the world is sleeping. The cartel knows that the global media will leave after the final whistle, and when they do, the mothers will still be digging. The bags will still be there. The silence will remain. Some viewers might ask, why do the mothers keep digging? The answer is both heartbreaking and simple. They dig because the government will not. They dig because forensic science, when applied with care, can give them something that no amount of therapy or religion can provide: certainty. A bone fragment can be tested. A DNA match can confirm a death. And for a mother who has spent years wondering if her child is still alive, a confirmed death is not the end of hope. It is the beginning of mourning. And mourning, as cruel as it sounds, is better than not knowing. But even certainty is denied to most. Of the 456 bags found near the Akron Stadium, only 72 have been partially identified as of March 2026. Partial identification means that forensic experts can determine age, sex, and approximate height. But full genetic matching, linking the remains to a specific missing person, has been achieved in just 12 cases. 12 families out of 456 potential graves have received an answer. The rest wait. They wait for resources, for political will, for a miracle that will not come. One of the activists, a woman named Cecilia who has been searching for her son since 2021, gave an interview to a local radio station last month. She said, and I quote, "I do not care about the World Cup. I care about my son. If FIFA wants to use my country, let them. But they will not use my silence." That quote has become a mantra for the search collectives. It is printed on their t-shirts, painted on their signs, whispered at their vigils. It is a rejection not just of the cartel, but of the entire system that allows the cartel to operate. The international community has largely ignored the ghost games. Human rights organizations have issued reports, but reports do not stop bullets. The United Nations has expressed concern, but concern does not dig graves. The United States, Mexico's largest trading partner and the primary consumer of the drugs that fueled the cartels, has said nothing. Why would they? The war on drugs has failed, but admitting failure would require a level of political courage that simply does not exist. So the bodies pile up, the bags multiply, and the stadium glows like a beacon of indifference. Let me leave you with one final image. It is June 2026. The opening match is about to begin. The players line up for the anthem. The crowd sings. The lights flash. And 500 meters away, a mother kneels in the dirt. She wears a white face mask to protect against the dust. She wears gloves. She holds a small trowel. She is not watching the game. She is scraping the earth, looking for a tooth, a button, a piece of fabric that might belong to the child she lost 4 years ago. Behind her, 50 other mothers do the same. They have been there since sunrise. They will be there until sunset, and they will return tomorrow, because for them, there is no final whistle, there is no trophy, there is only the dirt and the bones, and the unbearable, unbreakable love that turns mothers into forensic scientists, gravediggers, and the last witnesses of a genocide that the world has decided to call a World Cup. I am still standing on the outskirts of Guadalajara. The stadium glows in the distance. The crowd roars. And somewhere beneath your feet, more bags are waiting. More bones, more silence. The question is not whether you will remember this story. The question is, now that you know, what will you do with the knowing?
Did you like this mystery? And what is your theory? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, then like and share. I'm Merc, and I'll be waiting for you in the next mystery.